Hello watch enthusiasts. Now today I'd like to talk about a new watch which I've just received and I have taken it out of the box before, so this isn't strictly speaking an unboxing, more of a first look though, and this is the Oris Aquis. Now I bought the 43mm version, but I won't say anything more. So this is the box that one gets, and it's a fairly sort of simple cardboard box with this nice pattern on the on top, and this isn't really the actual case for the watch. This is more of just a box to contain all the paperwork and so on. So that the top comes off like so, which then, well, this section flaps back down, and then we're presented with this. So here, what we have is the actual case for the watch, which is this, which is sort of a travel case. And underneath that we have the paperwork. Now this box reminds me very, very much of the box I received with the Longines Conquest, because it has a similar arrangement, albeit the box is more dress oriented on the Longines. Now if I just remove this, and I'll put that, I'll move the box to one side just for a minute. There we are. Move the lid. This is the manual that one gets with the watch. So as you can see, it is signed Oris in the on the corner. It's embossed, which is a nice touch. Inside there is the guarantee card. I won't show the information on this just for privacy reasons. And then on this side we have the back of one of their chronographs, titanium chronographs. That's one of the very high-end models, with that classic Oris red rotor, which is a sort of a trademark really for them. Rather than anything else, they are really known for their red rotors. And of course here we have the service centres and so on. And then inside here, this is the product manual itself. So we have the means of use and so how to use a chronograph even. And so on, and how to use a helium release valve, for example. So, I mean, this is it's a fairly complete manual. It includes everything that one might need to know about the watch. So yes, this is the paperwork that one gets. Just flips over nicely like this to be stored away, and it acts as a nice wallet for all the cards and details of the actual watch itself. Now, the box which the wristwatch comes in is this. So it's a travel case with, again, Oris embossed on the... Let's just show you that. There we are. Just focus it. There we are, with Oris embossed on the top. And it's this plastic rubberized texture with a zip around the sides. So if one unzips it, like so, with this signed Oris zip, it flips open to reveal the watch. Now, in terms of details, this is the tag that one gets with the watch. So as you can see, it was £1,170 new, and the back does state the serial number along with the stainless steel case, anti-reflective sapphire crystal, and it's water resistant to 300 meters. Put that to one side. Now, this is the watch itself. Now it's presented on this cushion of sorts, albeit it's not like any cushion I've seen before. It's this sort of it's this shape. As you can see, I've sized it already, so I have to use the diver's extension to fit it round this. Yes. Now I'll put away the box and I'll be back with you in a moment. So here is the watch itself. Now, originally I was going to buy this watch with the rubber strap, which Oris are very famous for that Italian rubber strap. But in the end, I went for the bracelet because I saw a particularly good deal on this one with the bracelet, and equally because actually having worn it on the bracelet, I really like it. The way these links are designed makes them extremely comfortable. to wear and very supple on the wrist, along with these breathing gaps, which make wear in hot weather all the more pleasant. So if we look at the dial of the watch, the version I purchased has the matte black dial without any sort of sunburst effect, which the blue ones are known for. And the bezel, if I can get it close to try and show you, there we are, is actually brushed ceramic, which I haven't really seen on any other watch outside the Oris range, especially not at this price point, which around £1,200 is very, very good value, as I'll explain. Now, the hands are polished steel, and the second hand is very standard to a dive watch with that lume pip on it. The minute and an hour hands are very original, and wouldn't really be seen on any other sort of watch. Now the dial does have simple baton style hour markers, or minute markers, whatever you'd rather call them, with, I hope you can see, a slight polished metal rim around them, which just makes them jump out a bit more, and prevents the dial from looking too flat when it does have this very simple Bauhaus design. Now, the case of this watch is utterly original and doesn't look like anything else on the market. So if I look at the side, I'll show you that. The sides are fully brushed, with these screwed-in crown guards, which, as you can see from the underside, I'll just try to get that into focus close up for you. There we are. They are actually a separate piece, so to remove these, you'd have to remove the crown and then unscrew them, but they are a separate piece to the rest of the case, which gives the whole watch a very modern aesthetic and complements the extremely simple dial extremely well. The lugs are, I think the lug to lug is 48 mils, I believe. Do correct me though if I am wrong. But they are screwed bars, because this does have an integrated bracelet design rather than having a separate end link to take the bracelet. But for me, that isn't a problem. I know some people have said that it can cause wear between the parts, and I suppose it can over time, but there's a little bit of gap on this bracelet, as you can see. I'll just move it a bit, which means that I really doubt it'll cause any damage. Also, I'm considering buying the rubber strap for sort of summer, because of course this bracelet is really quite beautiful, but it does have these polished links, which means that it will track scratches. And I make no secret of the fact that I don't particularly like having a scratched up watch. Now, the interesting thing about this case design, is that the sides of it's slightly kettle shaped, if you see what I mean. It's difficult to show. There we are. So this side of the case, you can see, becomes wider towards the bottom, which makes it extremely comfortable on the wrist, as I'll show you. But equally, it means gripping the bezel is immensely easy, because this juts out slightly, while not actually giving any sort of clearance for anything to get in. So it's built extremely solidly. Now, the bezel action is superb. There's no play in this whatsoever. There's nothing, and it's 120 clicks. So it's very firm, very precise, and once you click to a point, it will jump back slightly, but once it's set in that spot, it won't move at all. Now, though it may look, and it's difficult to tell actually what on the bezel is loomed and what isn't, only that pip there, which resembles actually the top of a Tudor Pelagos bezel, remarkably, a remarkable amount. Only that pip is loomed, but the legibility of this means that actually it doesn't make much difference, and it really is legible in all light, despite only that pip being the only loomed part of the bezel. Now I'll just show you a loom shot now to demonstrate how bright the loom is actually. So I'll just cut the lights and be back with you in a moment. Okay, so now I've turned out the lights, so I'll demonstrate the loom. Now, first of all, I'll show you what it looks like without any additional light source whatsoever. So this is it completely uncharged. So this is having simply worn it with my worn it over my cuff all day. Um, so as you can see, it's extremely legible, and it is this blue color. I hope you can see that. Now, to demonstrate the brightness of the loom after a sort of a day's wear, I'll put it next to my Orient, and as you can see, it has a very, very similar um, amount of luminosity, while having that cool blue color rather than the greeny sort of hue that the Orient has. Also, if one looks at that loom pip at the top of the bezel, the Orient's one is far smaller. Um, and I think the Oris's one is more, well, it's easier to see, um, which is a real advantage. Now I'll show you what it looks like having been charged. So I shall just use this UV torch. Just give that a little bit to light the whole thing. So that's with a little bit of charge. You can see it's immediately brighter. And I hope that illustrates the colour better for you. Anyway, I shall turn the lights back on and show you the rest of the watch. Okay, so moving on to the back of the wristwatch, we see something fairly exceptional for a 300-meter diver, or at least rare. This watch has a sapphire case back with the typical red Oris rotor, which has been seen on many Oris watches with open case backs. Now, as you can see, the movement resembles an ETA 2824, but it's actually a Sellita SW200-1. So that's the version which has had some adjustments made after there was some reports of the original SW200 breaking as a result of the crown and winding stem not working correctly, thus wearing out cogs. I believe the cog that was the issue previously was that the one that you see in gold just there. Now, the case back I think is one of the most elegant features of the watch because it has that these indents for opening it are completely circular rather than just being jutting out pieces as you can see on less expensive watches, which gives the whole back of the watch a much more sophisticated and well-engineered look. Now, of course, the whole case is 316L stainless steel, so it's the standard stuff, but very well finished in this instance. Now, moving on to the bracelet, and I'd like to talk about this because I think most people tend to buy these with the strap, but I think there's a great argument to be made for buying it with the bracelet. So, for example, if you look at these the lugs, the sides have been polished, which goes perfectly with the bracelet. And I am no fan of polished surfaces on bracelets, but in this instance, it just looks so elegant. And bizarrely, when I first took this watch out of the box, even it reminded me of something like an AP Royal Oak or a Patek Nautilus, because of that integrated lug design, which has really grown on me. Now, moving on to the clasp, this is something I'd like to make a point of. Oris are known for their good clasps, and this is no exception to the rule. So it's well, actually, I think I'll compare it again using the sort of benchmark as the Orient bracelet, because this has a clasp which is extreme, which is used actually. This design is used on a lot of watches. I know that this design of clasp is actually used on the Squale 101 Atmos, which is of course in a completely separate price point and closer to the Oris than the Orient. So as you can see, this has a fold over, traditional feature of a clasp, and these two pushers which release, with one central piece here which clips onto the back of this here. Now, this is a simple design and does work very, very well, but with this simple stamped metal, albeit some of these clasps have more more solid deployments, they tend to have this sort of rattle inherent in these sort of these designs. Now, by contrast, the Oris has an extremely different approach because it doesn't have that fold over. It simply has the side pushers, which release to give this very thick steel deployment, which is really very, very well made. As you can see, it's a very firm click, and these brushed sides are brushed with extremely a high amount of care, and are brushed in a straight line across, which I really like, which matches with the rest of the bracelet very, very well. Now, there is, of course, a micro adjustment here. I don't tend to use these because I find it bothers me when the top of the bracelets are scratched, so I tend to just adjust it with half links and links, which you do get half lengths. You get 2 half links with this bracelet, along with the standard. Well, there's 4 more links plus 2 half links that can be added to this bracelet, but I have particularly slim wrists, so I've removed those. Now, once open, there is a diver's extension down behind here, which is very sturdy. I still haven't removed the sticker here on top, but I'm sure I'll get round to that. And that goes into here. This is again a very sturdy design, which again shows Oris's attention to detail. They really do understand that this watch will be worn professionally, as well as for people who are simply interested in dive watches and swimming with their watches, rather than actually ever partaking in any sort of scuba activities. Now, the movement in terms of the usage of it is quite simple. So we have a screw down crown to enable it to be water resistant to those 300 meters. And of course, it winds in this first position, and it does feel very, very svelte and very very slick in its winding method, which was particularly nice. In its first position, the date can be adjusted, and in the second position, the time can be adjusted, and as you can see, it is hacking, which is nice to see. And as far as a few notes about this watch in terms of legibility and aesthetics. In terms of aesthetics, I love the dial because those hands, as you can see, they appear and disappear into that black dial. So at times they look very slim and narrow, and then suddenly appear leaf-shaped, which I really love. Equally, the date has been put at 6 o'clock, which is a feature which I really do admire and appreciate in watches, because I find that, especially with a dial as simple as this, the asymmetry of having the date on the at 3 o'clock would throw the design in the dial. Now, as you saw with the loom shot, it's very easy to tell the top from the bottom of the watch because of this slightly elongated batten at 12 o'clock and the slightly shortened one at 6 o'clock. I think I've covered everything with this watch, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review and the video. So do please like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the video for more content in future. And if you have any questions, do just email me at questions for Arm on the Watch Guy at gmail.com. And that's Arm on the Watch Guy spelt in letters, so ATWG. So thank you very much for watching. Over and out.